Greetings, everybody. We're back with another episode of Three Men and an Anime. I stumbled over my words at the beginning because I'm good at talking. Good to see you guys. How you doing?
It's 'cause you're not used to doing it again.
I know. Anyways, this is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friends and co-hosts, Eric Carlson and Gav Leaf. We really haven't done this in long enough.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been too long since we've done. Wait, we did one episode 2 weeks ago, but we're not in the. I'm not used to talking on recording like this.
Yeah.
Back in the swing.
Anywho, we are covering my most recent series selection, which is season 1, technically, of Ascendance of a Bookworm. Yes, we're doing another isekai. It's
not like there aren't a million of them.
Nope, there are. Yeah. Oh god, there are so many. But it is not your typical isekai. Boy, howdy, is it not your typical isekai?
No.
For starters, well, it goes back to the original OG isekais, and the protagonist is female.
Yes.
Which used to be most of the time back in the day. Although in this case, boy howdy, she's not going back home.
No.
Because it is more of a modern one in that she died in our world.
Everybody she could go back home. It would just be very, very messy.
So yes, it is set in a fantasy world, which we'll get into. We'll talk a little bit about it. All right, so here's the deal. The important bit about this show is that it really does. The thing I like. So before we get into anything that might be spoiler or what have you, the basic sort of, I think our general impression of all of it is we all really like this and recommend you check it out.
Yes, it's good.
So if you want to avoid spoilers, it might be a time to bail out and come back after we're done watching, because it's hard to talk about the show without spoiling things.
The one thing I will say is this is not your action isekai kind of thing. This is not, I'm in a fantasy world and I'm going to go fight monsters and all that shit.
There's no monster fighting.
At least not this season.
There's no monster fighting.
At least not on screen.
This is very much a character piece, interrelationship, world building, that kind of thing.
I think there's exactly one monster killed and it's off screen. And it's technically a plant.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember there being a monster. I mean,
the plant thingy that they
the trombe?
Trombe, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, the trombe. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a spicy vine. It's fine.
It is very much a monster. It is a monster in the way monsters in D&D are.
It's kudzu on acid.
Yeah, I mean it's a dangerous mobile plant, I guess. Wouldn't necessarily say intelligent.
It's not really mobile. It's just it's hyper kudzu.
Kinda.
It grows really fast and uses up all the nutrients immediately around it.
It is able to lash around and attack things, however.
Yeah.
But long story short, it's about this series is about our main protagonist is Mine, who is a very young girl.
She's like 5 or 6.
When we first meet her, she is 5.
Yeah.
Basically, long story short, our protagonist is also, at the same time as being Mine, is Urano Motosu. Motosu Urano. She is a young Japanese woman who was on the cusp of becoming a librarian. She loves books. Boy, does she love books.
Yeah.
It's a lot how much she loves books.
Yes, and unfortunately there was an earthquake, and she was crushed under a pile of books during that earthquake.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's how she would have wanted to go.
I guess I think she preferred to be reading when that happened, maybe, but maybe actually become a librarian first.
Yeah.
But long story short, she woke up. She woke up after dying in the body of a very sickly 5-year-old girl who promptly dies, and Urano becomes Mine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, young Mine is victim of a sickness that basically takes her life at the moment that, well, I'll say that at the moment, but basically Urano's spirit is floating around, and there's an empty apartment, so in she goes.
Yep.
Very controlled and everything.
Yep, and she very much her one wish was that she could live in a world surrounded by books. Things do not start out well. Start out well for her.
Screw you.
Boy, she is bitter about that to a certain degree, and I do not blame her.
Yeah, you see, you know all those normal isekais where the goddess of whatever always grants great power and perfect life and all that bullshit to the protagonist.
Or at the very least, their dying wish. Yeah, that doesn't happen here.
Yeah, mine's like no. This is utter bullshit as far as mine's concerned.
I'm
She's living
peasant in a shit-filled city with 0 writing implements at all, much less a book.
Barely out of the medieval times, like just about like the start of the Renaissance sort of situation.
Not even. They don't have the printing press. They don't have anything resembling a printing press.
Yeah, that was.
They don't even have. They don't have paper, dude. They're still on parchment.
Yep. And yeah, this is the thing. Like they're still a lower class and a ruling class.
Oh boy, yes.
And like legitimately for the first like 9 to 10 episodes of the season, we don't even meet a single one of these nobles. They do not go to her side of the town, if you know what I mean.
They do not.
And like even parchment, even hell, even being able to read and write is a complete freak rarity in her area. It's like you couldn't get further from a book if you tried.
Like her mother can read numbers on price slates and can do math. Do enough math to basically shop, basically.
Yeah.
Her dad doesn't need to know how to, like, most people can read and write their own name, basically.
He can read name tags, basically, sort of situation. He's a guard.
Right. Yeah, her dad is basically the head of the city, the gate guards, basically. And her mom's a very well-regarded seamstress. Which, for the level of society there is, being being of the common folk, not actually a bad position to be in, all things considered.
Considering like the sort of house they live in, you know what? It's a 2-room. It's not a hovel.
No, they've got
a nice enough place.
It looks warm for the most part. Where they've got a fire going, they've got a kitchen area, a bedroom, a storage area. Like it's not for the time.
Strange medieval high-rise situation they've got going on.
Yes. Now, this is not to say that like they're anywhere near upper class for the non-nobles. Not even close.
Yeah, they're not even middle class. No. Honestly, they're definitely like
they're peasants.
They're peasants.
Except they don't own land, so
Well, even peasants don't own land.
That depends on the era.
That's true. They are. They're not quite serfs because they don't do farming.
Nope.
Yeah, they have their own autonomy, but like it's a case of like their homes and their city and everything else looks nice and secure and everything else. Essentially, what happens is it's as if somebody in like the 1600s or whenever, I'm terrible with history, like discovered how to build like projects, and they worked.
Yeah.
Like all of these, like they're not like fancy. They're all just like wooden built. They're not like stonework and fancy, like, but they look exactly the same as like the sort of situation you'd get with like a modern city, and you look and see all the old architecture. Just imagine all that old architecture is wood and board and basic windows and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they are sort of Renaissance era large housing tenement type things, except earlier.
Yeah,
you are correct.
They just feel like they're the most out of place kind of thing. I may be completely up the wrong tree. They may actually be historically.
I don't know. Looking at, I mean, I think it's part of the world building, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are the? So because of what we learn about the world outside the cities and how everyone wants to live in a city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone very much wants to be a citizen of a city, and the city the only city we see, but the implication is there that other cities are like this. That it is a big walled city.
Yeah,
with a big gate, and people try to stay inside, except unless they have to go out to the woods to do something. You go outside to do particular tasks, but you don't travel. Now that's been true for a lot of the era this is aping. People didn't really travel much, but there weren't quite as many massive walled cities in general. You generally don't build walls unless you're defending against something.
Yeah.
And usually that something is, some other jackass noble who has a walled city, who very much wants to take yours away.
Or Vikings.
Yeah,
Because Vikings look at any side of them that wasn't walled and goes, "That's free money."
but at any rate, so yes, mine. We're going to call her mine because that's the name that she's referred to throughout most of the series,
Yeah,
and she effectively is.
Yeah, she fully adopts the name.
She quite quickly becomes mine with the experience of someone else rather than someone else living in this young body.
Yes. But yeah, she's retained most of her knowledge from back in Japan, which turns out to be very useful.
Yeah, in the intro, like she's listing all the things that she's read, and I'll be honest with you, when it first starts, she's like reading about different forms of medicine and engineering and this, that, and the other, and all sorts. And I'm thinking, oh god, she's going to be like a miracle worker at everything, isn't she?
Not yet, at least.
Not yet, at least. They do a very good job of saying that, yes, okay, so she does have, like, book knowledge of things. She is aware of how things work. Can she reproduce them? No. What can she reproduce? The things that she's done before.
Right. And she can work with craftsmen to come up with some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
So she's got a head full of ideas and a 5-year-old body.
And no filter until at least a little bit later on.
Also, and a deep and abiding, passionate love for books that she cannot fulfill.
Yeah.
Now, the big problem is, I think large part of the problem is that, like, she's obsessive about it, but I think part of that is she is desperately homesick.
Yes.
And she's looking for some connection back to who she is. But to be fair, she has one piece of extremely, despite being in a body that is, both very young and very sick, at least she has an extremely caring and loving family. Like, legit, that is a large part of what saves her, is the people around her. Her parents and her big sister are all awesome. And yeah, but it's largely a story about her basically realizing that she can't get books because her family's way too poor. So she decides, well, gonna make my own. All right, can I get some paper? No. Fuck. All right.
No.
Fine. I will have to try to make paper. How the fuck do I make paper?
Remember, this is also in a time where actual paper, what they refer to as paper, is made from animal hide.
Yep.
It's basically skins.
It's parchment.
It's parchment, but it's like a case of like even the orders that they pass around in town already, they write on slate or blocks of wood.
Yep.
They don't. Yeah.
So she comes up with several different ideas, ways to to write on. She blocks of wood. She collects some wood to do that. Unfortunately, you need wood for fire for keeping the house warm. Or cooking. So that unfortunately gets burned. She tries clay tablets. She doesn't know how to fire clay tablets, so they kind of break and explode. She tries. Oh, I know. I'm gonna weave. What's the term for it? Papyrus. She managed to weave about a square inch size piece of papyrus effectively before realizing this is going to take me forever.
Yeah, weaving it by hand is not fun. But yeah, guys, if you've ever played a game like Civ or anything like that, and you're wondering why they're trading in paper as a valuable commodity, this is why.
So she very much wants to read because that's it was her love. It's the love of her. It's her favorite thing to do. On the plus side, but she's as I said is very, very sickly. We find out what the deal with that is later, but she gets a couple of little bits. Her mom carries on her back while she goes shopping. Sometimes she learns how to read numerals and how to count, and in the in the language of the language and numerical system of this world. And then one time she's going somewhere, I forget where exactly, and she can't make it, so she's taken to her dad at the gatehouse, and she meets her dad's lieutenant Otto, who is literate and teaches her a little bits of like how to write her name and such, and he's utterly blown away by how quickly she picks this stuff up.
Well, it's that, but also along with the fact that he's trying to, while she's got like a reading tablet, he's trying to do the books for the guardhouse, for the wages and everything, and she's like casually looking over, yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong.
She says,
that's wrong.
Otto, I think you've got that wrong there. And he looks at it like, what? Oh shit.
And she suddenly starts scraping down long division on multiplication on her tablet, and works it all out. And she goes, "Wait, you didn't use the calculator? They've got an abacus."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Well, she also, I have no idea how to use that, but I know how to do it this way.
Yeah. This is what mine does. She does things that are very normal to everyone else, to me and you kind of situation.
Yep.
And that you do without thinking. That blow these people away. They're just like, wait, what? You can do what? Like,
yeah.
just drawn out multiplication blows Otto's mind.
Yeah. She, at some point, her family harvests some fruits that are some oily fruits that look kind of like avocado a little bit, but not exactly. And she looks at it, there's oil there. I can make shampoo. Can I have a little bit of the oil, Mom? And some hot water? Yeah, sure. Why? Oh, no reason. Makes the shampoo, washes her hair. Everyone goes, holy cow, your hair looks great. Yeah, I can do it for you too. So she invents shampoo. Which eventually comes out to be very helpful to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Turns out she's really good at weaving baskets.
Yep.
With fancy designs that no one else has ever seen before.
It's a craft that she learned she did like little arts and crafts stuff with her mom back in Japan. So
yep.
Basket weaving, crochet,
the other knowledge she brings is a knowledge of food.
Yes, and she likes to cook.
She likes to cook. She makes simple recipes with really basic ingredients that, again, no one's ever thought of before. It's basically spare material they consider as bird feed. But she's like, oh no, I know what these are. These are like, you can make pancakes out of these. You make what? You're gonna make food out of bird's feed?
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll try it. Oh my god, these are great!
And this happens. When she does that, she happens to help out a local one of the local boys who's part of a group that's his older brother's friends with her big sister, and she was apparently friends with him at one point when she was younger. And like they treat these guys to a bit of the pancakes, and like he's the youngest in the family, and therefore doesn't get as much of the food. And like, so he's like, yeah, you basically saved me, mine. I owe you. Thus begins a really cute friendship, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sort of goes on from there. It basically things go on from there, and you find out all sorts of little wonderful little bits of the way this show does world building is really cool.
Yeah. Like they do this thing early on where mine's 5 and her sister is 7, which in this society is the age that they essentially, like the first coming of age ceremony that the kids go through. It's at that point where they're considered old enough to work, as apprentices at least. So basically they have to pick a career by that point and begin training in that career, and that's going to be their life going forward. So my sister goes through the whole ceremony. She's going to become, I think it's a seamstress with her mum.
Yep.
And from that point onwards, essentially, we're then following mine, building her way up to be what she wants to be, which she hasn't got a clue, other than books.
Right.
She wants to own a bookstore.
Yeah, she just ends up wanting to own a bookstore, is where she sort of ends up.
Except she's in a family of guards and seamstresses.
Right, and you need,
And
in order to get an
really-
apprenticeship, you have to be recommended to it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, she gets to know Otto and helps him out, and Otto introduces her to a merchant who he knows. It's not at all that he knows this guy because he happens to be his wife's big brother. Oh wait, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, Mr. Benno is probably one of the better characters in the actual show.
Oh, he's great. He's a fantastic character.
He's got a lot more world wisdom than anyone else, essentially. But it's here where the writers have a lot of fun because he's also he's a merchant.
Yep.
And this is in a time where merchants did deals that they could do. You know, it's a case of there are no rules. It's like you make as much money as you can.
Yep.
That's how this works. If your customers are unhappy, you deal with it how you see fit, or however fast you can run. And so, like, this is where all the intellectual stuff comes in. It's like it's setting I won't say setting traps, but like you see the interplay where the naivety that Mine has and just wanting to do this, that, and everything starts to get tempered with that real world experience, where she's like, "Oh, hang on, I'm being dumb about this."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, she's a little focused on what she wants. And she eventually runs into a sort of the granddaughter of the sort of the head merchant in town, the head of the Merchants Guild. His granddaughter, who is let's just say she's fond of money.
Yeah, she's a weird one.
Well, people start pointing that she and Mine are very similar, just they've got different sort of what they obsess about.
Yeah.
With Mine, it's books. With what's her name? Hang on. Frida.
Frida.
And Frida, it's money. She likes money. Likes money a lot.
Yeah. Like she's like saying like literally her favorite thing to do in the world is count her money.
Yes. Counting money's fun. Mine's like I can understand what you're talking about. I don't, not the specifics, but the whole, oh dear Lord.
And she's all sweetness and peaches and cream, but she is gonna be a viper one day.
She is sharp. She is a smart cookie.
I've worked in sales. I've worked with people like Frida. She
also has one other thing very much in common with Mine, it turns out. Which is sort of the big mystery of the show, is why is Mine so sick?
Mm.
And we get little drips and drabs that, it's something called the devouring. And we eventually find out what it is some people in this world are born with the ability, with magic, basically. Mana. And if you can't find a way to, if it builds up too much, it basically burns you out, like literally.
Yeah.
And it reacts to strong emotions, usually to negative ones. So people with money, like the nobility, have access to magic items that allow them to drain the mana out of them as they're growing up, so they don't burn themselves out on their mana. That's the nobility. If you're really a really rich commoner, you can buy old magic items that are falling apart to do this. If you're not that, you're gonna die before you're like 8.
It's heavily implied this is the reason why Mine died.
Yes. Oh,
originally.
Yeah, the original. Yes. Yeah, the devouring is profoundly just. Oh God, it is rough. It is profoundly unfair, basically, because of the way the world's structured. So Mine has one episode where she is because of her sort of her pre-apprenticeship with Benno and her ability to
I
sell
was
off.
muted.
Oh, were you?
You were quiet.
I thought you were very quiet.
I was like, did Eric not like this show?
No, I've been saying stuff, and like I just realized it's muted when I was trying to say something, and Peter started talking over me. It's like, that's not like Peter. Let me double check.
What were you going to say then?
I was just gonna say, like, it's mentioned that when Frida explains the situation to her, it's like the nobles used to have quite the hatred for commoners with magic items, or commoners with mana. So the devouring was a way for them to clean up, and it's kind of very subtly implied that if you've got mana, that means you have the potential to use magic, and magic is something they do not want the common man to have.
Yeah.
Shocked to hear that.
Karl Marx would like to know your location.
It is also, I will say, and I actually really appreciate this. This is very much other than the fact that mine is a very, very sickly child. It's a very positive show. It's a very look forward, look outwards, and that kind of thing. But whenever the magic side of things and the interaction with the nobility, you just get that little peek at the underbelly. Like just the little degrees. Like there's an interaction later that we'll get to.
Oh God.
Yeah. That quickly turns sour because of the nobility and their attitude towards certain people. Hell, Frida. The only reason she survived so long is because her father is head of the merchant guild.
Yeah.
He's still a commoner.
Yep.
He's just a very rich one. He gets hand-me-downs.
Yep.
He gets second hand. If she wants to live past, well, the next couple of years, the only way to do that would be to essentially, the way they describe it, is to do a deal with a
noble.
A noble. What that deal entails, I suppose, is down to what the noble wants, because the noble is always the one in command. They're always the ones in the place of power. So basically, I can't remember what age they said, but basically, the second, I'll be nice and say the second that she becomes a teenager, she's a concubine for a noble.
Yep.
But it'll give her, as she puts it, it gives her the connections actually to found her own merchant.
Yeah,
so
she'll be allowed. She'll be allowed to run her own business and be her own sub noble, but she's always going to be sub to a noble.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I
No.
mean.
I'm not defending anything. I'm saying it could be worse.
Yeah, I mean it's a shit situation, but the effect is it's what you're gonna. It's not a bad option in such a shit society. So
Yes.
I'm not holding it to today's standards
no,
or anything
but
like
still.
that. I understand it's
Still shitty. It's still
it
shitty.
is, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a great deal.
No, Frida will probably pull through this just because of who Frida is.
Yeah.
That young woman is a force of nature. Yeah. But
Yeah,
so, and mine basically has that decision to make, and she basically says, "Yeah, fuck it. I realize that that my family here has actually become my family, and I don't want to leave them behind." And I really she's like, I can't do it. I can't do what Frida's doing.
Yeah, Frida, for her part, Frida, she can't seem to get her head around Mind's position. Like, she's saying, why are you choosing to die? And Mind's response is, I'm not choosing to die. I'm choosing to live with my family.
Yep.
And Frida just can't get her head around that. Mind's going to do something, to... She's not giving up in any way, shape, or form, but she's going to do it her way.
Yep. And, yeah. There's a wonderful bit where Mind basically, basically sells the recipe to Frida for a year, basically.
Sells. Yeah, she sells, yeah.
And basically, so Frida's, if they come to a deal, and Frida's like, and Ryan's like, well, after that, the recipe goes out to everybody, and lots of people will be able to make pound cake. And she says, but if I die, I'll leave it up to you to decide. And so Frida's like, well, if you want it to be distributed to people, you better be around to make sure that I don't keep it to myself.
Yeah. I will say
I really like their friendship.
That is one of my favorite parts about it. Like you say, they're friends, but Frida is also a business girl. She's a businesswoman.
Yep.
Like they're hanging out on essentially a play date.
Yep.
Mine passed out, and the devouring was getting too much, so they gave. Well, we find out they sold Mine one of Frida's magical items because she had a surplus to last her until she enters into her deal.
Right.
So basically, they used it to drain her of her energy and said it's probably going to give you about a year. And while she's recovering, they have a little, they have some girl time. They have a bit of a play date and run around. They have a bath together and they do stuff together. And then they go to the kitchens and mess around and ask the cook if they can help. And while they're cooking, Mine's like, "Oh, guys, do you guys have sugar yet?" "Oh yeah, we've got plenty of that. We're head of the merchant guild. Of course, we've got sugar." "Oh, okay. Do you have this? Okay, cool." And she starts mixing up, throwing in. The cook's like, hand on chin, looking the entire time. All right. Gets it all together, bakes up, and basically makes the first ever pound cake.
Mm-hmm.
Frida and the cook take one bite of this thing and look at each other like, "Oh shit." And Mine's like, "What did I just do?"
Oh, Benno's gonna be so mad with me.
You just gave them a recipe for free. And sure enough, they open a whole fucking shop dedicated to different flavors of pound cake.
Yep.
But it's that friendship side of it that means that later on, Frida offers to at least reimburse her to buy the recipe off her. But yeah, it's those little moments where like you see Mine start to wise up through as the show goes. Like she sells the recipe for the formula for the shampoo, and it stops working for some reason. Everything they're making just doesn't seem to work. And it takes her a moment to go and figure out what's going wrong, and they're like, "Oh shit!" So it turns out they were making it too good.
The oil was too pure. It turned out
they were refining it too much for it to actually do the job they're after. But she says, "Oh, but it's okay with the stuff you've got. If you had a little bit of," and realizes that everyone's watching her, and because she's about to tell them a recipe for something else, and she's like, "Yeah, you can do something with this, but it's going to cost you."
And the grin on Benno's face.
Yeah, it's like she's learning.
He's like, "Yes, she got it finally." God damn, this is going to cost me, isn't it?
But like she gives
that's the thing that he ends up paying the 3 gold coins for.
Yes,
which was exactly what she needed to buy the magic item from
now,
Frida's
he thought it was only going to be 2.
Yeah.
Well, he offers her
2.
2, and she negotiates up to 3, gets 3. He did a deal with the merchant guild that they were going to buy that item for 2 gold. When it comes to asking Mine for the money, they say it's 3 because you always try and haggle up and make as much money as you can.
Right.
And Mine's like, "Oh, good job, he gave me 3. Here you go."
No, it wasn't just that. They were trying to trap her. Because like, "Oh, if you don't have enough money, then you can come work for us, and we'll defray the cost." And Mine's like, "Nope, I've got 3." And they're like, "What?
Fuck. Okay, cool."
Well, at least we get 3 gold out of this.
It's the most light-hearted and friendly fucking, mercantile backstabbing that I've ever seen.
It's not even remotely personal.
No. Just literally business. It's just business.
But also, like, they don't want to work there just because it's profitable. I mean, they do. They want that business going to be profitable.
Because her brain's filled with all sorts of, like,
but, like, they also like her.
Yeah.
Like, no, like if you work for us, it will be better for you, too, really.
Well, it's like she basically sits down and gives him that 3 gold buys literally everything she knows how to make from fruit oil, from the oil that they're processing. It's like, yeah, you can do soap, you can do candles, you can do this, that, and the other. It's like, deal.
And that's and I'm just going to point out, 3 gold is an astronomical amount of money in this world.
It is crazy amounts of money. Mine
like,
is
that is like a few $100,000.
Mine is legitimately rich, but at this point in the show.
Yeah. And she brings home more money than her parents have seen, much less than they make.
And, and she left most of it in the guild bank because she's not stupid.
Right. Not hiding this under the friggin' mattress, thank you very much.
Nope.
I'm going to stick this in the guild bank, so because I've been told I'm going to need lots of money to keep myself alive. Ergo... But eventually, she has her coming of day, her baptism ceremony, which is at the church. And this is where things get... This is right at the end of the season, and boy, howdy, things get real interesting real fast.
Yeah, this is where the plot accelerator hits the fucking floor. So, if you weren't interested in this show up until now, you're gonna be, and then we're gonna go straight into season 2, okay?
So yeah, we learn the mythology of the world, and I will say I think one of my favorite bits about it is that apparently the sort of the big sort of mythological baddie is the god of life,
which is kind of neat.
I thought that was really kind of neat and interesting. You can see the mythology is structured that makes sense. It's just like an interesting writing idea from the author. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
The stances they take for their prayers are very silly, and mine really loses it laughing when she sees them the first time.
Right.
And she's trying hard enough to not to laugh that she's basically bordering and passing out, so they basically take her to rest up for a while, because she's so sickly, and she's like, that's not what it is. Well, fine, whatever. She gets up, she recovers and goes wandering. It's like, well, I guess I should head back. Oh, there's a priest going to that room. That room has book. It's a library. I want books. Force field. Oh,
mine's entire worldview shifts in that one instant. She's like, oh my god. You see this poor fucking library, this apprentice priest walking around. It just turns around and sees mine pressed against this force field. I want in. Oh, I can't come in. This place is only for people who are parts of the clergy.
How do I join the clergy?
I want to be a priest. If that's how I can get books, I'll do it. What do you mean this is a terrible idea? Oh yeah, I should probably think about this sort of thing, shouldn't I? Fuck. Okay, why is this a terrible idea? Oh.
Well, it turns out it's a terrible idea because, just like everything else in this world, things are very stratified in the priesthood. People from the priests from the nobility get a whole lot of extra privileges. Priests from the common ranks are slaves for all intents and purposes.
Yep. Yeah. If you're a commoner, you live in the dormitories there. You get pushed around by pretty much everyone, told to do this, backbreaking work, constant work, no days off, barely paid a pittance,
barely enough food.
It's literal slavery.
Yeah. It is literally, it is for orphans, basically. Because, if you've got an actual family, they're going to, even if your family is, really poor and you don't have a lot of stuff, you're better off. Basically.
It's the workworkhouse.
Absolutely.
It's basically, if you get to 7 years old, you haven't got a job or a apprenticeship somewhere else. You go to the church. You go into the workhouse.
Now, I will also point out that for the nobles who are part of the church, they're the put upon nobles. Yeah. They're the black sheep of their families. The ones that well, you're the youngest one. We've got nothing useful for you, so to the church you go. Okay, great. Now, we find out that they then find out mine has the devouring, and they are very excited.
They become suddenly very, very interested.
And they're assuming because she's used some of her skills to do up her baptismal dress pretty nicely, that she's also a noble. or at least
she's from
someone
an upper level family, and like
Yeah.
they like he said, well, if you want to join us, you have to like get your parents' permission, and you have to give us some money. Okay, the most I could give you at this point probably is a gold. He's a small gold, and he's like, okay, yeah, that I guess that'll have to be enough.
I guess that'll have to be enough. You should bring your parents by to discuss terms.
Yeah.
And mine. So then she goes and talks to Benno, and Benno's like, "The fuck, mine."
Yeah.
Oh,
Benno explains all of this, and it's like, and her parents are equally pissed as well because, like, her dad's like, no daughter of mine is going to end up working as a fucking slave in the church.
But it's like, and her mom puts it, "Hun, she didn't know," and he's like, "Okay, fair point, but I'm still angry, not at you, at the just." And mine's like, yeah, I don't. If it means leaving you guys, I don't want to go. Like, so she's like, yeah, I'll go back, and I'll weasel my way out of this. But the other important bit is Benno points out to her, like, okay, so here's the thing. Eventually, he points out to her, like, okay, so she goes back to weasel her way out, and that's when they discover she has the devouring.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let her weasel out of it now. But she goes.
Well, she goes because like she admits that she really, her main interest was the books.
Yep.
So they offer to let her come back and read the scriptures.
Yep.
And there's one character that we've been seeing throughout the show.
Yep.
Literally in the first scene.
Yep. He's literally in the first scene, which is a flash forward.
Yep. Which we then realize going down. He's there in the title card, the blue robed priest, who is he's not the high priest, but he is the head priest in charge of.
He's in charge of the day-to-day sort of stuff. He's not the
day-to-day stuff. Yeah, he's not the figurehead.
Right.
And he's surprised because, like, she's like, no, I don't want you to read the scriptures to me. I want to read them myself. Good Lord, I want to read and learn.
And he's like, well, I can't
words.
let you touch the book. It's a holy book. She's like, that's fine. And she wants to sit there and be able to read it with him. So she's like, yeah, I don't know all the words. I want to learn the words. And he's like, okay.
That's pretty cool. Just sit in my lap, and let me know when you're ready if you need help with a word, and I'll turn the page.
And he's reading it loud. She's like, oh, is that word this one? He's like, yep, that's it. He's like, okay, she's really okay. Oh boy, she's smart. Boy, yeah. He's at the point of like, I want her in here because she's smart. We need smart priests. We need people who are fully literate. That's really useful. Then they find out she has a devouring, and they're like, oh, okay. Well, yes, go talk to your mom and dad, and tell them to come down here. We'll talk about things. And she talks to Benno, and Benno explains, okay, so you have the devouring, and they know it. Oh, boy. Right. So, there was a purging of the nobility a while back. So there are a lot less of them.
Yeah.
And that means there are a lot fewer people with the devouring to, power to feed the magic items that the church uses for important stuff, like improving the yield of crops and such.
Because they didn't get people with devouring from the common folk because they died too quickly. The only ones that the priesthood got that had mana were the nobles that had mana that had the devouring that the families didn't want to keep paying for.
Right, and all of a sudden, but hey, look at this! All of a sudden, there are a lot fewer nobles now. So a lot of the nobles who are part of the church have gone home to run their families.
So now the church is short on money and short on mana.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now they think they're going to get a wealthy, at least semi-noble with mana.
And mine shows up with her parents. And basically, they've come to the conclusion that we're not. Basically, Benno is saying, so here's the deal. This is your way out. This is what's going to save you. But you need to negotiate for the best possible thing. You have a lot of advantages in this negotiation.
Yeah, you have so much leverage. It's like
now,
they are desperate for you. Yeah,
they have one. There's one drawback she has that she is not a noble, and the nobility don't give a fuck if you're not a noble.
Oh boy, do they not!
Yeah. So,
but if you get them to listen, this is what you argue for, and they will capitulate.
Yes. Unfortunately, the high priest realizes her family are not merchants, but is a gate guard and a seamstress. And therefore, he's like, I can completely bully them. They don't even have money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, he assumed that they had
literally
money, so it's like, I can't just bully them because they have money. They can actually, like, buy stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, I know, it's like, also, I don't want to bully them if they have money. They will give me money. Oh, wait a minute.
When he finds out they're commoners, he's literally like, I don't have to negotiate with you. Throw them in the prison and give me her daughter.
Give me your daughter. And, like, her dad's like, no. All right.
You are aware I'm a soldier, right? I am trained.
So the priest come up and he's like, okay, punch, 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 kick. It's a beautiful little scene.
To the point where he starts threatening his dad with execution for assaulting the clergy.
Yeah, then we learn about another facet of the devouring.
Yeah.
Let us... We now meet Darth Mine.
Yes.
This is a term that's used in the fandom for her.
Yes.
Mine. It turns out that if you get really pissed off, you can use the devouring to kill people, largely force choking them, basically.
They actually refer to it as the crushing
because you're literally crushing the target of your ire's heart, literally.
This high priest is not enjoying this situation anymore.
No.
Yeah.
He's about to die when the head priest, our blue-haired dude is like, mine. Don't kill him. Please don't kill him. Why shouldn't I?
He has threatened to murder my family. Seems like an equitable exchange.
Because if you do, you'll be guilty of killing a noble, and they'll be accessories to it. Even if you're powerful enough to defend yourself, they will be executed.
Fuck.
That is a problem. Can I just kill him a little? You killed him enough.
He's bleeding. His nose is bleeding, and he's passed out. It'll have to do. I mean, that's not how she says, but she comes to him and she's like, "Oh God, I don't want my family to die for this." And I will say the head priest is very like, "Yeah, I fucked up. I should have seen this coming. I didn't think he'd go quite like that. I didn't think your family would stand up as much as they did.
Yeah,
I should have seen that coming.
Go quite as hard. I didn't think your family would be quite so obstinate. Good on them. Here's the deal.
We capitulate to all your demands."
Yeah, literally everything. Doesn't even hear them. Everything.
He's like, "Yeah, you want to be able to, you want to have light, you want to basically be a blue robe so that you don't have to do physical work because you will die if you don't. Yeah, that's fine. We need you.
Yep.
You want to be able to live at home so that you can be with your family. That's fine. We need you. We also need you not to murder the high priest."
Yeah. Well, will the high priest not object? Like, put it this way: up to this point in the series, he hasn't shown his fucking face again.
Let's see. You want to run your own little mini business on the side? Fine, we need you. Also, that means there'll be more money available. That means we have a connection with the Merchants Guild. That's actually really good for us.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, this seems like we get mana, some money, and connections to the Merchants Guilds, and you get to live. The only downside, as far as you're concerned, as far as we can tell, is that the High Priest is alive. But you're not going to say that because that's not how the character actually works. But like, legitimately, like the only downside is that the High Priest is still alive and could threaten her family again.
I mean, like we discussed on the day, though, he's a super proud, over-the-top noble. He ain't gonna do shit, because if it comes out that he got his ass kicked by a toddler, a peasant toddler, nah, he's gonna stay absolutely quiet and not go anywhere near this girl.
Unless he thinks he can get away with it somehow. And
Yeah.
he probably will eventually think he can get away with it. Because he is that stupid and venal. Oh my god. What an asshole. But that's basically where the season ends, is with Mine basically joining the priesthood.
Yep.
And getting to live. And basically everyone being like, wait, we won? Kinda. There's a really very sad and very sad little scene with Tully, Mine's sister, and her mom, after they've come up with this plan. Like, Tully's like, but the nobles, if you don't do what they want, they might just kill you guys. And Tully's mom and their mom's like, yeah, I know, but this is like our only shot to save mine. And we're not going to let them just do it. I mean, if they do it, they do it, but we're not going to let it, we're not going to make it easy. Your dad won't let them make it, won't let it be easy. Turns out neither will mine. But yeah, that's basically the long and short of the basics of the series.
This is the thing. It's not exactly a super dense show, but it weaves what it has together in a really nice way.
It is actually really dense. It's just it's got a nice coating to it. It rewards you for looking deeper into things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, honestly. But it also like there's a lot of stuff we've not like touched on deeply because like it's cool stuff. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff in the show.
This is one of those shows you can't go into because otherwise we'll just be literally reciting word for word the fucking show.
Yeah, right. And go watch it then.
Yeah. Trust me, the show presents it far better than we do.
Oh God, yes. Like legitimately, the show it is a masterclass in world building. Legitimately, and it is very smartly written. The characters are all really well done, and outside the characters you're not supposed to like, all likable. Now there are characters you're not supposed to like, and you don't like them. Well done. See, the High Priest.
Yeah, I mean, up to this point, he's basically the only one. But yes,
well, I mean, like there are characters you think you're like, oh, we're not going to like this guy, and then you end up really liking him because he's actually a really well written, nuanced character.
Admittedly, you get that about Benno when you first meet him. He's
right, exactly.
Really
you're like Benno, he might be a prick.
He's really guarded, really like quiet and judgmental and all that kind of stuff, and a bit hot. But you realise it's just because he's a merchant. He meets people all the time, and he's got his defenses up around new people.
Yep.
He doesn't quite believe that this 6-year-old is going to revolutionize his business.
And then she does, and he's like, "Oh, huh."
She just casually mentions, "Oh yeah, I'm going to start making paper out of plant matter."
It's like, you can't do that. That's insane. Wait a minute. You might be able to do that. I'll front you the initial capital to figure it out. So, but I want exclusive rights to distribute the paper.
But he wants to buy the process, and then she says, "No, I won't sell you the process, but you will be the one." I want. Yeah. She goes, "I want to be able to. I want to be able to make. I want the process to be mine, but I will sell it through. You will be the one to distribute it." And he's like, "Okay, I can work with that."
Because he realizes, the capital that she's asking for isn't a whole lot, and he does get a bit of a sweetener with the shampoo and a few other bits.
Yep.
So at the very least he's breaking even, if not making money already.
Oh yeah.
And he gives them like a year to just present proof of concept.
Yep.
Yeah. Provide me a couple of actionable prototypes, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, and he's like literally a case of, okay, well, I might as well. Sure, I'll say yes to this. If it works, if it doesn't, oh well, whatever. If it works, I'm going to be rich.
And then over time, he genuinely finds that he actually come to really care about this kid because it's like, oh wow, oh dear, I seem to have acquired a little sister. Shit,
Fuck, I've got like
shit. I care about these kids. God damn it.
Yeah, he starts training Lutz, the young boy, starts training him as an actual full-time apprentice.
Yes.
Because he's been pushing for that like his whole life. He wants to do something where he gets to see the world. Because as standard typical situation, his parents have basically been pushing him into the family business of craftsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very good at it, but it's not what he wants to do.
Also, he's the youngest kid, so he's gonna get the short end of the stick, as it were.
Yeah.
So he wants to do something different, so he can do something on his own, and it's a really, and Lutz he's a great guy, great character, honestly. Like all the characters are really well done. I really like them. But yeah, mine is a very likable young little scamp. Even when she screws up, and she does screw up a few times.
Oh yeah, she's not infallible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the other things, like one of the other bits that we should mention is there's this great little bit where Lutz figures out that mine isn't really mine anymore.
Yeah, this is the thing. He comes across as a bit of an idiot, and in like book smarts, he is. He's not the clever. He doesn't, he picks up on things real quick, but he's not book smart. He's not like business savvy or anything like that.
Right.
Yet. But he's still smart enough to realize that how does this 5-year-old know how chemicals work and printing presses and all this stuff? Who the hell are you?
And and she eventually lets him know. And the other thing is that, like, you realize that her parents haven't called her on to figure this out because they are too happy that their daughter is alive. They don't care that things are weird. So you know what? Yeah, she's weird and knows stuff that she probably shouldn't. But you know what? Our little girl didn't die when she was 5.
Yeah.
And, it's like, fair. Oh my god! But yeah, what else? Other important. But yeah, it's a neat little scene, and Lutz is a much sharper character than he seems like he is at first. Gav's right.
Yeah. Lutz is also very bright. He just doesn't have the literal library of otherworldly knowledge that mine has.
Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get us wrong. Mine is not just trading on. She has lots of knowledge of it. She is a very clever person.
Yeah, she's smart. She picks up on shit quick. She's very clever. Dash cunning even.
Mm-hmm.
But so is Lutz.
Oh yeah.
He just comes off a little bit of comes off to everyone else as a bit of a second fiddle because he doesn't have the big pile of ideas.
Right.
But mine can't do anything that she does without him because he's got like the actual wordly experience.
He's also the crafter.
He can make shit.
He's an actual craftsman, and he, doesn't pass out from walking down the street.
Yeah. They're really adorable together, honestly. But yeah, that's the basics of Ascendance of the Bookworm Season 1. Yeah. What else have we not touched on that we should probably talk about before we get to final thoughts? I mean, the music's really good.
The music's good. The animation's great. It doesn't need to be, but it is.
Yeah.
We've done shows before where, and it's weird how these shows get the attention they do. Like, we've seen shows that, I mean, to point at one in particular, we did Kuroko.
Yeah.
Which we dubbed a fucking slideshow,
Yeah, the sports show about basketball has less good animation than this series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
When there are large chunks of this show that could very well just be a still photo with lip flaps moving.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's not.
I'm so frustrated by Kuroko's animation. Not as much as Eric is.
Frustrated. You're frustrated.
As I was saying, not as much as Eric is. My frustration is
they can do it. There are scenes that they show they understand how to do animation. They simply choose not to 90% of the time.
Not that Eric's bitter about that.
Insulting, honestly.
Oh yeah, I understand. At any rate, we should probably get into final thoughts. So Eric, then Gav, then me, because it was my pick.
All right. So this show has a dumb name. The show is an isekai about a little girl. The show is fucking amazing. The world building comes in drips and drabs, and it's just a friggin' masterclass. Just a lot of like little implications about about things that you sort of sit just below the surface of things. The characters are all really well done. Gav says this. Gav said this isn't a dense show, and you could totally take it as just a surface level medieval slice of life fun time show. But it really rewards you for digging just below the surface and like peeling back the implications of things. It's really cool that way. I like that. I like it a lot. It is entirely worth your time. You should pick it up. Do it. Do it now.
Do it.
Yeah. Once you finish listening to us, go watch the show.
Yeah.
No, you
Yeah.
haven't finished listening to us.
Please finish listening to us.
Yeah, I maybe misspoke when I said it's not dense. I mean, it doesn't present itself as dense. It's not one of those shows where you have to listen to single thing that's going on to pick up what's going on and follow the story. You know, it's not like I forget the name now. Yeah, a
J.J.
really smart
Abrams?
show. Yeah, whatever. It's not one of those shows where if you miss a line, you miss the plot. You know, it's a case of. But as Eric says, if you are willing to dig deep and like connect the dots yourself, then there's more there to understand and to imply yourself. But it's one of the few shows that like we've watched the first season, and I really do want to continue into the second. And I probably am going to do that in my own time. But it's like I say, it's not one of those super overhyped action, this, that, and the other shows, but it's just interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's that's the only word for it. You sit down and watch it, and it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it has a lot of things really going for it. Like again, like the character writing is just absolutely spot on. Like, oh my god. I love all the characters. Mine is a treat. She's wonderful. Her family is just so goddamn awesome. I love them to death.
So fucking wholesome. They're so sweet. They make your teeth run out of your head.
The thing about it though is they have negative sides as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's not like, oh, the kid's fucked up. Oh well, you know, sitcom bullshit. It's like, no, the kid's fucked up. Mine, go to your room.
Or help us fix this, you know.
Or fix it, or the anger that her dad, you know, there's a phase where her dad is legitimately panicking that his daughter is seeking father figures elsewhere.
Yeah.
In more intelligent men than him, because she's clearly a thinker and he's an illiterate soldier. And he goes through like almost like a mini crisis of faith because of that. He's like, you know, he thinks his daughter's, you know, not looking up to him and has no sees no worth in him. Like first she goes to Otto, then she's learning from Benno, and then she's off with the the guild, and like it's so far above his station that he's like he don't feel worthy of his own daughter, and it's little things like that you know. Like, her mom tries to be super supportive, even though she doesn't understand half the things her daughter's doing.
Right, and it's clear she doesn't, and she's like, you know, it's hard, not easy on her.
Yeah,
and her sister has. I mean, we haven't really spoken about her because she is kind of just a. I won't say window dressing, but she's very much just a supporting character in the very, you know, strictest definition of the word. But even she has a moment where she's worried that like her little sister's going to be, you know, got all these ambitions and these things, but she's just going to be a seamstress like mom. Even though mine's better than her.
Yeah.
Like mine invents crochet.
Yeah.
Teaches her mom how to do it.
Yep. Until he's like, but you don't want to be a seamstress. What? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like the basket weaving scene, like when like they're doing all the weaving stuff, and then eventually mine's working on the papyrus, and she gives up and like, oh yeah, you need help with the basket? Yeah, sure. No, I know how to make baskets. Weave here. Until he's like, what the fuck? Wait, that's like better than mine. I've been doing this for like a year. What the hell, mine?
Sorry?
And mine's like, and their mother's like, right. Actually, Tully, you really should be. We know what we should be doing now is you should be learning how to sew. Mine can take over the baskets now, and you can learn how to sew, which is, you know, because that's what you want to do. And Tully's like, yeah, okay, that's cool.
Track the small child.
And mine's just like, oh, thank God, Mom, really well done. Holy shit. Because mine's still going, how do I fix this? How do I fix it? Oh, Mom handled it. Okay, great. But yeah, no, I really, really like, the characters are all really well done. I think of outside of mine, I think my favorite character is probably Benno.
Yeah.
He is just hilariously awesome. And God, the voice acting in the show is also really good. Like, Jesus.
Yes.
So, yeah, Benno's voiced by the dude who voices Dio Brando.
Yes.
And the head priest, the dude, the blue-haired dude, yeah, that's the guy who voiced Rezo the Red Priest in Slayers. No, they're different actors. Oh, crap. Fuck, I forget. I looked this up.
Dio.
Dio is definitively the...
It's definitely Benno. Bento, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who voices what's his name?
I think he's the priest. He's the actual priest, isn't he?
Ferdinand. Let's see. I want to look this up here so I don't forget this off the top of my head. But the voice acting, like, this is just like the cast is stacked. They're really good.
Yeah, it's just really weird to see, like you said yourself. It's like in the shows that we're familiar with and we've watched, there's so many familiar voices, and it's weird that two of the biggest villains in our personal history.
Oh, okay,
anime.
yeah. So he's okay. So the dude who voices the high priest is Wolfwood from Trigun, Ashram for Record of Lodos War. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. He's been around for a long time.
But it's weird to hear these typically villainous voices.
Oh, that's it. He's Aizen in Bleach. That's it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird to hear these typically villainous voices in supporting, positive roles.
Yeah.
And it's
like, seriously,
not
hearing Dio Brando's voice coming out of Benno's mouth and him being who Benno is, it's a trip.
And this is the thing, he's one of those voice actors who doesn't do funny voices. He's an actor behind a role. So it's the same voice. It's Dio.
Yep.
With just slightly different.
Yeah, he's just not as over the top.
Yeah. Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah, so the voice acting of the shows across the board really good. I recommend checking it out. But yeah, so I think final thoughts are we all love this show. Go watch it if you haven't. And if you have, watch it again.
Yeah, I haven't had time to start on season 2 yet, but I fully intend to.
It's good. So that means we're up to Eric, your next pick. What do you got, or do you not know yet?
I don't know. I thought I had an idea, but it turns out we already did it. So never mind.
Can we do a show we've done again? No.
So we'll be back when we finish whatever it is the next show is that we do. So thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed. If you're watching us on YouTube, listening to us on YouTube, thank you for listening to us on YouTube. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment, like the episode. If you really liked it and want to know when new episodes go live, subscribe and hit the bell button. That way you get alerted when episodes go live. But either way, feed the algorithm. Let people know about the show, etc.
Validators. There are 88 of these out there now.
plus a couple of specials.
And specials. 90 episodes.
Too many.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Bye.